Welcome back to Youthology on AUQ Radio, brought to you every other Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. We are your hosts, Manur.
And I'm Forever.
And today joining us is Dom, MBA Business and Development Manager at the University of Hertfordshire and also the cluster lead for Digital Data and Engineering program. So would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
So I'm Dom. As you said, I'm a business development manager and I work at the University of Hertfordshire. As you were saying, I do specialise in digital data programs in engineering. To give you a bit more detail about that, so digital data is our sort of DTS program, so like software engineering, cybersecurity, network consulting, and another one is data analytics. But we also offer like data science as well, and engineering programs. So like that's civil, mechanical, and electrical. To give you a bit more about me, I've only been working at the University of Hertfordshire coming up to 3 years. But funnily enough, I've been working in education or higher education since about 2019. So I've actually quite some time now when you think we're in 2025. And I started my process in education. Funnily enough, it's just a temp. I was temping, I left. I've always worked in sales in different sort of roles. So I've worked in sales in holiday sales. I've worked in banking and finance, car sales, and I also used to manage like a contact center. So, and I just came through a bit of a change, a job that I didn't really enjoy. And I started at the University of East London just as a temp, and then it sort of needed help fixing a problem, which was finding placement roles for placement students who were international students. They had like a placement year, so it was trying to find them sort of placements. And it just piqued my interest. That was my first interest in education. I didn't have an undergraduate degree. I left school at 18, not really enjoying A-levels, and I went into the field of banking. So going into education was a sort of a shock for me because I wasn't from the background in my head, but working in education opened everything. Hence why I pursued my MBA at the University of East London whilst working. And that's a bit about me. I don't want to go too much, or waffle too much.
Wow, that's amazing. That's fine.
Feels like you've been everywhere. I mean, from car sales to like, you've literally almost done everything, actually. That's quite inspiring. I love how you've put that into perspective with, doing your MBA, why you chose to do that. And my second question was, can you tell us about your journey to becoming a business development manager? That sounds like a mouthful. I'm so sorry. And what attracted you to the University of Hertfordshire specifically? Because, why would you go from East London to Hertfordshire?
So, funnily enough, even though I didn't really think about higher education, I've lived in Hertfordshire for most of my life. And the University of Hertfordshire is the anchor institution for Herts. So before then, I sort of was always aware about it. Working at the University of East London obviously changed everything for me because for one, it opened up my education. And two, what's quite important was a lot of representation because I saw people that looked at me and sounded like me in really high positions, which gave me that drive to be able to think, actually, I can do it too, which culminated all my skills, which is sales and account management, to how I sort of pursued my MBA. Then a role came up at the University of Hertfordshire. I was just sort of flicking through one day because I've been at the University of East London for quite some time, and it came up. And I said to myself, this is a bit of a bigger role, but not something I hadn't done before. I've worked in the industry technically now at that point for 3.5 years. So it is more of a slight sidestep upwards. And I thought, I'm just going to go for it. And another thing, it was particularly degree apprenticeships is something I'd done a bit of research into before, because thinking about sort of how education is going to have to evolve. And it seemed like a perfect opportunity. So I just went for it. And it was successful. The interview was chaotic for me because I made mistakes and my presentation flopped. But what I think, came across the passion. And when I walked into the university, it was amazing. Facilities amazing. The vibe was there. And here I am today.
Wow. So inspirational. I think that really puts across the message that even if you're not sure about something, you should definitely go for it if that's something you wish to pursue.
100%.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've also highlighted how important it is to see people that are like you and talk like you in all these higher positions. It gives you that drive, like you said.
100%. It changed my outlook and made me think that I can do this. And even when it came to education and the MBA part, when I thought about when I looked at all the modules, I was able to sort of relate to my roles I'd done in previous jobs. So it helped me excel and made me realize actually there's a world of knowledge that I've taken. And actually my path hasn't been the direct path. But actually reflecting on apprenticeships, you can do that similar path. You can reskill with apprenticeships. And yeah, it's sort of culminate into that.
It's really important that you mentioned that it was not a direct path, because I think oftentimes people kind of get scared if it's not leading directly to what they want to go into. So I think that's really important for people to hear.
Yeah, the end goal the process is important as well, but if you have your mind set on an end goal, I guess it doesn't really matter how much, you shouldn't let how you get there affect you so much as the fact that you are getting there in the end. I feel like that's something to remember.
I would say that too, yeah.
Yeah. So as the cluster lead for digital data and engineering programs, what does your typical day in your role look like? It's my role's so varied. It can depend on what time of the year it is. And I say that just because it's a different product that we're sort of, we like to say selling, but we're selling and we're selling a service. So, but it follows the university calendar year, semesters, and when students need to be recruited. So the best way to give you an example is a majority of our programs start in what we call semester A, which is September, end of September, right up to about December, which is the first semester, the academic semester of the year for all universities and colleges and schools. Now, so if you think you're recruiting for semester A, you're trying to sort of get all your sort of ducks in order. So you're trying to help employers who may have never recruited an apprentice before. So sort of trying to help them go through the recruitment process and then the onboarding process, onboarding that apprentice onto the program, which is the academic side. So as you can imagine, like A-level results came out on the 14th of August. So it was a frantic day helping all A-level learners and students, ensuring that they get their places secure, what they need to do next. If there is, sometimes we know how life is, there are some hiccups. So what can we do as in a university and to support your employer to make sure you can still go on that course and also keep that employment, because that's really crucial. Whereas a few months before then, I'd be doing information sessions about our programs to employers, groups of employers, and talking about our programs and how they'll fit their organisation, because that's really important. The apprentice is important, but making sure our programs and the standard that we run the apprenticeship against. So that's like, for example, mechanical engineering is going to suit a manufacturing business, and how it's going to benefit and upskill their employees if they're upskilling or recruiting too. So quite varied.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. The next question was, how do you bridge the gap between academic programs and the needs of industry? Because obviously you mentioned that's quite important for the academic programs to match the industry's needs. How do you find that balance? Because I feel like it could be a bit tricky.
It can be, but that's the beauty of degree apprenticeships, because that's how they're created. So all apprenticeships run on something what we call an apprenticeship standard. So to make it a bit realer, an apprenticeship standard is when a load of employers will get together and work out a standard that is good for a profession. What is the standard for that profession? And then And then after that, essentially that standard will create that apprentice for that profession. So the best example to give you is if you're going to study civil engineering on a degree apprenticeship, the standard you'll follow is a civil engineer standard. And that, and companies like, if you can imagine, big civil engineering companies like Skanska will come together and say, this is what you need. These are the skills, the knowledges and the behaviours we'd need for this profession. And that's what we work on. And us as a training provider, we map our program. So the modules that you need, what we need to teach them, so they can be, so we can accredit their degrees as a civil engineer, just like if they've done the usual traditional academic route where it's more theoretical. Because we work so closely with employers, it's essentially the perfect match for them. We all know that not all civil engineers do the same thing. So what is also important is how we match employers with our, what we call apprenticeship coaches. These apprenticeship coaches will work with every individual learner, or along with they'll have a mentor inside their organisation, which is normally a line manager, but it doesn't have to be. It can be someone who's really well versed in apprenticeships. So, and they'll have an individual learning plan. And they'll go through, every 12 weeks, they'll go through what we call review meetings, where they'll look at that learning plan, because apprenticeships are done on a portfolio basis, so they're built over time, and making sure that they're hitting keep their knowledges, skills and the behaviours, as well as the academic side of making sure that they've hit all what's needed for the modules, the credits needed for each module. So because they're so personalised, at the same time as making sure they meet the general accreditation for the degree, they just seem to work.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that sometimes there can be a bit of a scramble on A-level results day. So what advice would you give to someone who maybe didn't achieve the grades that they were hoping for, and what kind of support is available to someone?
I would say, first things first, speak to just like you would normally do, speak to your university. Because just like most universities, we do like, if you know the process, clearing. And what is great is we don't follow the same clearing process, but what we do is give you the same support. So it's just supporting you as a learner, you as a student, and the employer. For instance, okay, I'll give you if it was me, say if I want to do like an engineering course and I didn't get the C I needed, or the minimum C I needed for, say, A-level maths, what we do at Hearts is we really are into a widening participation. So what we've done is we worked with our admissions tutors and our engineering team to create an entrance exam, which will allow us to judge the level of that person's maths and then actually engage support right from the beginning. So working out a plan to support them with their maths, because we all know that sometimes nerves can really make a difference on the day for our exams. And we understand that actually sometimes that things can happen, so we can get you to a level. We'll know what level you're at. Sometimes if the grade is really, then there is not some work needed, then we'll give you advice on what you need to do in terms of coming back next year, because we can support you in that and point in the right direction. But if it is just a miss, again, like I said, the entrance exam will allow us to determine where you are and give you that support for you to go and achieve, rather than saying, no, we can't. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's so amazing, because especially for degrees, I feel that usually if you miss out by a grade, you'll just, like especially for medicine and dentistry. So I think that's so amazing.
Yeah, I think it's good as well, because like you said, nerves play such an important role when it comes to exams. A lot of things play an important role when it comes to exams, because everyone's sitting them at the same time, everyone's stressing, you never really know what's going on at someone's home as well. So I feel like giving them that time to just try again, but this time when you're done trying, we can see, okay, this is where you're at, we can work with you while you're still getting your degree. No time is essentially wasted, so like you waste a whole year and come back afterwards. So I think it's really good, actually. I feel like that's something that should be adopted. Universities talking to you guys.
And I think what's important is because there's a side as well, so we have to understand that not only is the academic side important, but this is someone's job role, and actually there's people that will move across the country for a degree apprenticeship. So the more understanding can be, the better, I would probably say. And again, there's a really, and I'll stop waffling, but there's a really amazing fact about Hearts in terms of how much social mobility and widening participation is to us. We are number one in the east of England in terms of for widening participation and in social mobility, and only one of two universities that are actually outside London who feature in this top 20 list, and it's done by the Sutton Trust. It's really it's a good list to look at, and it's where I believe we should be.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think you guys have earned your spot at that list. The very next question is, what skills or qualities do you think are the most important for success in business development within higher education?
I think it's understanding that higher education isn't just any business, and what is important is being able to listen, and being an empathetic person in general, and also emotional intelligence, I'd probably say. So being able to read the room and understand that actually there are different stakeholders, and it's really important. So the end stakeholder is not only just that learner or student, but it's also the organisation that you're working with, and it's just being able to understand really how to listen, and that the end goal is really just support, because actually that's what we're here to do as higher education. We're here to teach, and we're here to support, and support local economies and local areas as well.
So you've mentioned that apprenticeships have an academic and a professional side. So in terms of that, how do you make sure what's taught in classrooms kind of connects with what the employer really needs?
Because what is important again is dialogue, I'd probably say, because remembering that actually apprenticeships are there to upskill, and there to upskill and develop talent within organisations. So being, as an institution, having your ear to the ground, and also making sure that you're engaging with your employer partners all the time, which we do, probably to the point where they may sometimes be sick of us, but we really want their input in the teaching, and that's where we get like guest lectures from, when you can get employers in to talk about their experience and talk about how it works for them in industry, and that keeps us with having a pulse on the button and on the industry, and also make sure that the teaching is relevant. Degree apprenticeships, we're sort of learning because backwards and forwards, because these are real life projects. So we're teaching them the theoretical sides, but these are real life projects that they're doing there and then, for customers within for their companies. So I think it's, like I said, a dialogue.
Oh, that's great. Okay. So we hear a lot about digital transformation. I mean, if I try to break the word down, I feel like I would not break it down, I'd butcher it. But what does that mean for education and the workplace, seeing that degree apprenticeships kind of merge those two? What does digital transformation mean, and how does that word or that phrase apply to your role and what you do?
I think, that digital transformation is something that no one can run from. And I'm going to go back to a little bit about my MBA, and this is because this is one of what I wrote my thesis about. It was transition to Industry 4.0. Which is now 5.0, coming out around the corner very quick. And it was about understanding that technology is moving so fast that it's actually creating revolutions themselves. And it's really all about making sure that we, again, like I said, having that finger on the pulse. So trying to make it a bit more real, something that's implanted in our all across our engineering standards, so mechanical engineering, civil and electrical is understanding of AI and what it is doing to the industry, and then how we can embed it into our programs. And I think that knowing the pace of digital transformation, which we have embedded in a lot of our teaching, is helpful. And actually, if you don't sort of take the bull by the horns, and I say this about things like ChatGPT, I always say this to my colleagues: if you don't take the bull by the horns, you're going to end up being left behind. And I think we understand that as an institution, in terms of using it correctly, and making sure it's embedded in the right ways. Otherwise, it's just going to get left behind. And that also goes for instance, our DTS programs, which is our software engineering and our cybersecurity. I'll tell you an amazing fact about actually the facilities that we have at Herts, which is our Spectra, which is our building, which houses our science, physics, engineering, computer science programs. We have what we call they're like battle rooms, they're battle labs, where our cybersecurity students can essentially battle to extinction. It's like safe hacking. So it's off server, so it's on its own server, so you can't create any damage anywhere outside the room. But it's safe hacking, so we can understand sort of the skills that they need, and it's the practical skills that they need. And I think that sort of speaks volumes to where we position ourselves at Herts, and where we think industry is going, and what is important that all industry should know.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, it does actually. It sounds so innovative as well, because you get to practice, and then you're being told like what you can improve on and things of that nature. And I love how safe, because when you said safe hacking, I'm like, oh, sure. Sure. But that makes sense, because I mean, it's on its own server, so it can't really cause any more damage. But I love the fact that the students at the university are being given that opportunity to just explore what they've learned beyond the classroom. Because besides projects, a lot of students, I don't think, get to experience that. Like whatever it is that you're studying, you don't really get to do it. Besides, go home, do this, and bring it back, and we'll grade you. So that it's nice to have that practice in between.
Experience, yeah.
In terms of what you said about AI, I think that's so important, because so many people are afraid of it, but I think it is part of the future, and I feel like if we're avoiding it, it's just going to harm us and affect our development.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so
I agree.
It's really important. So could you share an example of an innovative partnership or project that has made a real impact on students or the industry?
I'm just trying to I was thinking about this. I tell you what, we have just signed a partnership with a company called Jacobs, and we've announced it. And Jacobs are a huge engineering company, which are worldwide.
Nothing about that.
Oh my God, I've actually got a few partnerships I can tell you about, but it's a really nice, wide-reaching partnership, which involves research. It involves like social mobility, ethics, like things like teaching in schools and things like that. But it's a really wide-ranging partnership that hopefully is going to benefit us at Herts, but it's also going to benefit Jacobs, and it's going to benefit our students, our graduates. And that's what's important to us at Herts. Really quickly, just some other ones that we've also got a partnership with Watford Football Club. So we are their official education partner, which has made really amazing things. Like, for instance, we've got some amazing degree apprenticeships. So we've got a degree apprentice who's on what we call our charter manager degree apprenticeship program.
Wow, okay.
And they work in their events and account management at Watford Football Club. But they love football, they love sports, and they're getting exposed to an industry that probably would be quite difficult to get into straight after. But that partnership is really brought value. And the last partnership is, and this is for my colleague who's another business development, Jane. She worked really hard on a partnership with David Lloyd. So we've got a partnership with David Lloyd, and they are working with us in terms of degree apprenticeships, and they're upskilling and recruiting into their clubs onto the same standard we're talking about, the charter manager degree apprenticeship, and they'll come out with fully fledged BAs at the end in business management. And I just think it just goes to show what we like to do at Hearts. We want to be industry focused, and we want our learners, students, graduates, everybody really to benefit from that.
I think that's an amazing... David Lloyd is an amazing stepping stone. At least that's the one that I actually know. I don't know the other ones.
I think it really shows you the value of apprenticeships, because I feel like most people think degree is the only option. They don't really consider apprenticeships. So I think that's so important that people try to understand the value that this can bring.
Yeah, I think it's great. Off topic, I'm so sorry, but does Watford have its own university?
No, because...
Yes, I thought we were cheating on the university.
No. We are, because Hertfordshire is the anchor university for the county, really, and we do because, and if you think about Hertfordshire, I know I'm in Luton today. Love Bedfordshire. I do. We do. We actually work with him quite closely as well in terms of the county, not the university, but
Wow, take jabs.
no, but as in for, there's a lot of rich organisations in Hertfordshire, and we do obviously work on that basis. But we also like to say that we'll work with anybody for any organisation, and actually locally as well. We have apprentices and businesses that we work with in Bedfordshire, like I was saying before. Leonardo's, which is down around the road. Eton is another one, is an engineering company we work with, and we also work with Central Beds and Bedfordshire Council. So, just saying, we are as an anchored institution for the county, but actually we'll reach as far as we can and support all anywhere really.
Oh, that's great.
Next question. I feel like you've already kind of mentioned this. It was the question was directed on how digital transformation and data can shape the future of education and work, but I feel like in your answer you kind of like touched around that. If you have anything else you'd like to add?
I'm going to add a little bit to it, because the digital transformation is everywhere. And actually, one of the things I would like to say is how close we work with the NHS. Gosh, we work with them, don't we? And actually, digital transformation is one thing that the NHS is focused on in their 10-year plan, the workforce development plan. And what's quite exciting is we're working with not just acute trusts, but we're also working with PCN, so primary care network, the GP surgeries, and how they can upskill their team with our data science apprenticeship, because you forget you'll probably know the NHS is heavy with data, and exactly, but it's so important. So if we can try and upskill within, say, people who are like the discharge nurses, that's a huge amount of data. People that work in the primary care network, there's a huge amount of data that they have to manage. And if you think about peaks and flows of when the NHS is at its busiest, and how maybe the data science apprenticeship, which focuses on machine learning and how to be a master of data, how much effect or what positive effect it can have on looking at things like bottlenecks in like the winter season. We all know what the flu season and what is critical for the NHS, and a huge issue is bed spaces, bed numbers, and if you can find data modelling that can assist the NHS with apprenticeships that are funded through the levy. They don't have to pay any extra. I'll stop waffling, sorry, there you go.
That's so interesting to connect the two together, because I never thought about NHS and the data.
But then again, the NHS is quite heavy on data, if I think about it now. You have to do like scans, you have to keep all the records. Some patients have come from different countries, you have to take that into consideration too. There's just a lot going on, and the fact that they manage a lot of people is insane, and I think that would be like an amazing opportunity to get data science in there as well.
Exactly. Every patient has a history. It's a lot of, if you think about how many times you may have gone to a doctor or dentist, or it's all in the NHS, and that's all in your record.
Yeah.
And it's a long record.
For one person.
Exactly.
So, what advice would you give to aspiring MBAs about leveraging their degree to enter successful leadership roles?
Be confident in what you've learned, what you've been taught, and what you've produced. You didn't get that MBA for no reason. And I do believe it's, and if I was to use my own personal experience, I believe I got my MBA from using and trying to learn from all the things that throughout my different careers, and different roles where I've led multiple teams, and essentially that MBA culminated all those skills together. So, and those experiences together, and I'm actually proud of that. And I believe those experiences have helped me shape how I work, and how I communicate and how I engage with people. And I think after completing it made me realize that I can be confident in myself and can be confident in what I know. So have confidence in your source. You didn't get it from nowhere, and you've got that degree. It's been accredited, and just let it fill your knowledge that I believe you've leveraged with it. Let it shine, basically, because it does. It will do.
That's amazing. Okay, now we're coming to the end of everything. Wait, no, not the end of everything. The end of this segment. Finally, to close off the show, if people want to find out more about you or would like to contact you, let's say they have questions about like degree apprenticeships and things of the sort, how exactly is there like a website, LinkedIn, email address?
Look for me on LinkedIn. So my name on LinkedIn, as I say, it's easy to find. It's Dominic, Dominic. And I got my full name in there. No shade. So it's Dominic, and my surname is Whyte-Ifill. So it's spelled Whyte, and a little dash, Ifill. And you'll be able to find me on LinkedIn. And actually, I've got a book with me. You'll be able to book it if you've got questions. Questions about anything really. I'm happy, but questions, especially questions about higher education, degree apprenticeships. Book with me. Book some time with me. Message me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody about anything.
That's amazing. Thank you for coming on the show and answering our questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've done it now. On LinkedIn.
Now
Immediately.
Thank you so much.
Now we'll be going on a break for our next segment.
Bye.
Okay, welcome back. Now we're joined with Youth Ambassador Jeremiah. So would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hello, my name is Jeremiah Jiyakede. I'm a Youth Ambassador for Attentive Social Enterprise. And I just finished college, Luton 6th form, and I'll be looking forward to going to university.
Amazing. So what are some of your hobbies and interests?
For hobbies, I'm a sports fanatic. I love basketball. I love football. I grew up playing football most of my life. Basketball I got into recently, like 2 years ago. Apart from that, I draw from time to time, mostly when I'm bored, unfortunately. And music, listening to music. It's a very good hobby for me.
Nice. So you're Youth Ambassador at Attentive. Can you tell us where you first heard of Attentive? What was your first experience?
I would say it was, there are two experiences I had with Attentive. Initially, it was in my high school. I remember year 11, it was a random day assembly. And we just called us to the assembly ground. Then was Montel, I think was Crown, and they invited some police officers. They were talking to us about like cyberbullying and cybercrime. I was just like at the fourth row, like what are these people talking about? I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't. But from there, I also met them at college, careers day at college. I was walking through, looking at the universities, the options they were offering. And I saw Crown, I saw you, I saw Forever. And Crown introduced me to Attentive. I think what caught my eye was the work they were doing. Because at that moment, I started doing some charity work here and there. But it was the work they were doing. And likewise, what they call the opportunity in terms of the creative sector. We do video making and photography. I wanted to go into that aspect. So yeah, that's how I went to Attentive.
And do you volunteer with any other organizations?
Oh, yeah. A few years ago, I've stopped now though, solely with Attentive. A few years ago, I was with Level Trust. They used to do what they call Easter Smash Week. So it's for like primary school students. So a week with primary school students. We go there, multiple activities like teaching them how to build campfires, Sometimes they go to like special places at like Stevenage or where they make like clay and everything. It was very, very fun. It was actually fun. Likewise, I work with Friends of Bright Eye, FOB. So we work with special kids with special needs. I volunteered there for like a month. Yeah, that was my volunteer history.
Amazing.
That's great. So can you tell us how long you've been in Attentive and what's like the most interesting thing you've done or learned?
I can't believe it. Times fly by. I've been with Attentive for like a year and 2 weeks.
Ooh,
Yeah, and 2 weeks. I'm like, when did I start? The journey has been amazing so far. What exactly did I learn at Attentive? Really, I would say the photography, especially because we got opportunities to use photography, use camera, learn how to do the camera. Likewise, networking skills. Attentive has really helped me with that, and my self-confidence. Before Attentive, I could not speak in a room of 5 people. I'm as shy as they come. But with mentoring, with the help of mentors and workshops and opportunities like this to use my voice and voice out my opinions, it has helped me a lot.
Yeah, the confidence thing I can relate to.
Yeah, out of 3 people, I'm not speaking.
So at Attentive, our mission is to engage, educate and empower, building cohesion and encouraging communities to work in harmony. What does this mean to you?
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I would just say it's all about integration per se. Integration of the young people and the old people. Like the young people, especially in decision making, in terms of in government places, in organizations, in schools, in terms of their education. For the old people also, like although the world is evolving, new thing doesn't mean we should forget our value, our cultural values and the traditions we hold. So it's just more of integration between people and people between generation and our culture, because Luton especially is a very diverse city. So enable people to be integrated with each other. I think that's what we really stands for.
A very good answer.
That's great. What have you learned from Attentive that you otherwise didn't know existed, or you've never really tried or involved yourself in something like that before?
Be attentive. I've learned a lot, I've learned a lot. Emphasizing on that networking skills, because nobody really teaches you how to network. People just expect you to be able to sell yourself or speak in front of people, talk to like a demographic or go to event and be able to just advertise what you're doing. But we're Attentive. I think that's what Montel emphasizes in terms of giving feedback from events, being able to like communicate effectively. I think that's one thing I've really learned here that I don't believe anywhere else that I've learned it easily. And I think is the patience we use as well. We don't just throw you into the deep end. We're Attentive. There's consistent training, continuous training, and there are multiple outlets and opportunities to actually practice, from networking to the photography as well. My first time using the camera, I was actually excited, so it was nice.
Nice. So I feel like we're at an age where we're learning about ourselves and developing a lot as people. So what's something that you've learned about yourself since joining Attentive?
I've learned I can work in a team. I think teamwork is very important, especially with what I'm looking forward to doing in school in terms of university. Teamwork, being able to communicate with a group of people, being able to work as a unit. I think it's very important. Attentive have helped me with that a lot. Before, I think I struggled to work with people. I'm more of the shy type. But working with Attentive, we have group projects, we have workshops where we have to communicate effectively. Everybody has different role they play. So you have to play your part for the team to achieve the goals they want to achieve. So yeah, teamwork.
Okay. While we're still on the topic of you outside of Attentive, what are you passionate about outside of your role at Attentive, and do you think, if you do, then please let us know how do you think that thing you're passionate about outside of Attentive relates to our mission, like in Attentive?
I'm passionate about a lot of stuff. Of recent, I'd say through Attentive, I've been more like humanitarian. I'm more empathetic, because we do a lot of not charity work, but we do work with the community as well. I'm passionate about engineering, motors, because I want to go into from mechanical to automotive engineering. I'm passionate about music and stuff like that. But overall, linking to Attentive again, with engineering is all about working as a team, working as a unit. Mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, every part of engineering is connected to each other. So the ability to work with different group of people, like what we do at Attentive, we work with different partners to achieve a certain goal. So I think it's that teamwork exactly linking with attentive to achieve a certain goal in the community. That's what engineers do, and that's what we're doing at Attentive.
Amazing. So I find sometimes people might be hesitant to join Attentive, maybe because they're shy. So what advice would you give someone who might want to join Attentive but they're just a bit unsure?
I'll say take the leap of faith. Go for it, because personally, I can't forget when Crown gave me she wrote my name down. I got the email. So unfortunately, I could not go for the Youth Ambassador week. It's like a probation, like tester week, basically. So I missed that because I had a work experience at Stevenage. So I called back. I was like, can I still apply for this? And they were like, yeah. When I still got the go ahead to apply, I was still like skeptical. Like, I don't know whether I'm going to use this or not. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey so far. Go for it. Apply for it. You might think, oh, I might not need this, or this is not what I want to go into. I think we teach very transferable skills that are useful in different fields of life. Talking about leadership skills we do at schools, communication, very important, because you can be good at whatever you do, but if you cannot communicate effectively, you're not really passing any message. At the end of the day, when we empower young people, I think that's one thing. As a young person myself, obviously we work with different age groups, but as a young person myself, I would say if you want to develop skills, it's a good outlet to go to.
And I think it's great because it's so flexible. With like, for example, with young people during exams, they can take time out if they need to. So I think there's nothing you can really lose by joining. You can always leave if you want to later, but I think it's good to kind of step out of your comfort zone.
Coming back on what you said, there's no really losing with Attentive. It's just gaining at the end of the day. And I think, like you said, it's flexible for young people. You're not really restrained to stay. You get your experience and you feel like, oh, this is enough for me. Well, I'll move on to the next step. Boy, it's an amazing place. Go for it.
Definitely.
Amazing. And finally, to close this show, if someone was to join Attentive after listening to you, where exactly do you think they can find us?
Go to our website, Attentive. I think we have attentive.com here. Just go your search engine, type in attentive.com. You can find us there on the website. I think we have a YouTube channel as well. Go on YouTube. Instagram as well, Attentive. So we do a lot of posting of poems. Likewise, we'll do poetry as well. I forgot to we do poetry as well. I did the last poet I was one of the last poets in one of our events, and first time speaking in a group of like 100 people, I think. So it was actually fun. It was nerve-wracking, but we did it at the end of the day. So yeah, Instagram, YouTube, and your search engine, attentive.com.
Yeah, so that's ATT10TIVE.
Yep.
And that's the end of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Bye.